everybody, it's Austin here. Just giving you guys a quick update on what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to be removing the floor here all the way across, take out this little lip here all the way around. I might even rip the back part off where the batteries were stored, but for now I'm just going to mainly focus on cutting out the floor, cutting out these supports here so I can get the floor completely out, and then look to see how the stringers look. But I'm really hoping that the stringers are okay, but if the stringers are somewhat rotten or wet, I'm probably just going to replace them, just because I know it's going to be an issue down the road and I don't want to redo this project twice. I want to do it right the first time, because this is planning on going to my boys when they get old enough, and then have the experience like I did when I was a kid. So, because I grew up on Olympics, and this is probably one of my favorite memories, growing up on Olympics, being on the water, going out fishing with my dad. My dad pulled me out of school and getting in trouble for pulling me out of school. So just kicked off this little bevel right here that keeps water from going inside the cabin, and it's completely rotten. I pretty much just, rotten. I pretty much just kicked it off. It's completely deteriorated. But I wanted to explain how this floor works. So in here, it's got support underneath this fiberglass. It's got like bulkheads, and then this center section where it's rotten, all the way down the middle, you can see it from this side to that side, all the way up. And then pretty much all this spot right here is rotten and needs to be removed. So if you look from the back where the engine was, if you look through where the gimbal was stationed in the transom bracket, you can see all the way up and down. There's no supports above the tank to keep this floor structural. So I'm thinking about just cutting a line with the skill saw all the way up, both sides, ripping this out, getting the tank out. But from what it looks like is that they fiberglassed it in separate, so it's not like all one piece for if there's ever a tank replacement or anything like that. But I'm gonna cut it out, see what the damage is, and if it spreads into either side of the floor. But if there's a couple spots, like right here, it's rotten from this spot right here, because there used to be a plywood board that ran across up to here, and then the floor went across, but that was completely rotten. So I ripped that out, but it just grew up that plywood from here all the way to there. So I'm thinking that this little corner is bad. So what I'm probably going to do is cut out like these sections, replace it with all good marine plywood, re-fiberglass it in, and make it really nice and supported. But you can see these brackets right here is from what was supporting the plywood all the way up and down on port and starboard. So tank is out. Surprisingly, there is no fuel in that tank. Not even a drop, so got it outside. But just needs to get cleaning and start turning the other part of the floor out and see how the stringers are doing. So, all right, guys. So it's 2 days later. Got the boat cleaned out a little bit. It was pretty dirty from all the tear on the floor that's rotten. But I cleaned it up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm planning on doing. If you look down here at the floor, it's got this little edge right here, all along here, that's drooped down. I don't know if they just laid the plywood down and then they fiberglass down to it, and it has this natural like little hump here that stores water. But I was just looking at that, and I don't want to keep that, and I'm planning on tearing the floor out anyways. But what I'm planning on doing is ripping this floor completely out. But for right now, I'm going to run the skill saw down along here, use the fence, the skill saw, run it down, and cut from here down, because if I decided to fiberglass into it, I could always use some polyester thickened resin and fill this in right here and then lay some glass in. But when you cut out about 4 inches right here, you can grind this down so you can lay plywood down, make a complete floor, and then you can make fiberglass probably 1708 across, probably from 24-ounce matting, and then you can inlay it up on the side, do it however you want, but you have something to contact into except for the side, because I want something solid, because I know from this spot out to right here is rotten, but I'm pretty sure right here is not. So I'm going to run it out about 4 inches all the way down on both sides here, and then that would give me enough to tie in the fiberglass when I lay down new boards, because this is all going to be a complete flat deck. And I'm going to, if I keep it, either way, it's going to have either a new floor all the way against the side of the boat, or I'm going to inlay it, fill in some, or I'm going to just grind it down flat and then lay some 1708 up on the side to make it so water doesn't sit right here, because that's just a spot for it to run. It doesn't run down through here. It can't run down through, so it just sits against there in a little corner, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna make it completely flat, or even make a little bit of a raise so it wants to come out. But I'm thinking about either just cutting these off here too, taking them off, and then using little, like a 45 support into the side of the boat so there's nothing touching the ground, or I might redo it. But either way, they're gonna get cut out so I can take this floor out. So All right, guys, so I got the floor up. As you can tell, as you get up towards the bow, it's pretty good. But as you get back towards the back of the boat by the transom, it's definitely rotten. You can see how it turns out black matter. But I pulled the floor up, and I looked at the stringers, and I thought, oh crap, the stringers are bad because they're black and looked like they were holding moisture. After I pulled some of the foam out and went down, I could see the bare fiberglass. It still looks like it's just laid in today. It looks really good. So I scraped up the top a little bit where they had some staples to hold the floor down, and then they fiberglassed over the staples. That they were rusted from the floor, obviously. But I didn't really think it was a good idea, because when you put staples through a board and you fiberglass over the top of it, if you have moisture that gets into your floor at all, it's going to hit the staples, and you have an open hole through those staples into the stringers for water to get into. So for me, I was like, okay, I saw that, and I'm like, okay, well, there's definitely going to be some moisture holding here, and the stringers probably get rotten. But after looking at it, they really don't look that bad. I saw the black on top. I was like, yep, they're rotten. That sucks. And then I scraped away off like some of the leftover flooring on top of the stringers that were stapled down, and the glass is intact. It was just dirty from staining from the rotten wood. So take a look at it. I first saw it and I thought, oh crap, this is definitely rotten. But I cleaned it up a little bit. As you can tell, like that's fiberglass right there, and it's a pretty good layer of it too. So and you can also clean this up. It looks really bad right now, but I literally just scraped it, and you can get down the fiberglass, and it starts to clean up quite a bit. So I don't think that the stringers are rotten. Maybe a little bit on the top, but I might just grind that down. Maybe like a good 1/8 inch, get down to good material, and then just do some fiberglass matting up and over, tie it in, and then put some foam in here. But until I tear up the rest of the floor. But if there's a couple stringers that are bad, I'll probably replace them. But it probably would be a better bet just to redo all the stringers at once. But if some of them look like they're still brand new, I'll probably just leave them, and then I can take measurements off of those and go through that. But there's just a couple things that are kind of concerning. But they're like right here, but it might have been from when they sprayed the fiberglass in. It didn't get complete contact up in there, but it doesn't seem rotten, but right there it does. But the rest of the plywood looks fine. So I'm gonna grind all this down. I pretty much just cutting this floor open just to see how they looked, to give you guys an insight of what it looks like. But here's the floor. That's some of the foam I just took out of here. But the foam looks really good. Top of this, it looks really good. There's still some leftover flooring for right here, but the main stringers and everything look good. Fiberglass holding up. I used the saw and cut it a little bit too deep, so I hit the fiberglass, but I'm gonna have to re-fiberglass the top of them anyway. But I'm definitely looking back here, and that's not looking good there. So hopefully everything turns out, but whatever is bad, it's gonna be replaced.